Sore back, numb hands, maybe your knees are aching after a ride? Those are all telltale signs that your bike probably doesn't fit you quite right. So in this explainer, we're going to walk through a few really simple checks you can do at home to get a basic bike fit. The goal? Make your rides way, way more comfortable. So let's just start with the big question, right? Is your bike truly a perfect fit for you? I mean, you might think that as long as you can pedal it, you're good to go. But trust me, the difference between an okay fit and a great one, it is absolutely massive. And that brings us to the core philosophy of a good bike fit. I love this quote from our source material because it just nails it. It's all about getting you fitted on the bike rather than trying to force a bike to fit you. That's the mindset we're going to be using today. And look, that mindset is so important because a proper fit directly impacts these three big things. First, your comfort, obviously, but also your efficiency, making every single pedal stroke count. And maybe most importantly, it helps prevent all those nagging pains and injuries down the road. Okay, so before we get out the measuring tape, let's just be really clear about what we're doing here. This is a basic do-it-yourself check. It's a fantastic place to start, for sure. But we have to set the right expectations. It is not a complete substitute for a professional fitting. Yeah, to put it another way, think of this guide as like the first aid kit for your bike fit. It can definitely help with the minor stuff, but for a full, comprehensive checkup, you're still going to want to see a professional. And this slide really sums it up perfectly. The DIY check we're doing, it's a great starting point, especially if you're kind of new to cycling. But if you want that optimal setup for comfort, for efficiency, and for injury prevention, a professional fit is definitely the way to go. All right, you ready? Let's get started with the very first step, measuring your inseam. This is a key measurement, kind of like your foundational number, that we're going to use for the rest of our checks. So what exactly is your inseam? Well, it's pretty simple. It's just the distance from your crotch all the way down to the ground when you're standing with your feet flat on the floor. So how do you measure it accurately? First, kick off your shoes and stand barefoot against a wall with your feet about a foot apart. Next, grab a hardcover book and place it firmly up between your legs. You're trying to simulate the pressure of a bike saddle. Make sure the book is level, then just make a little mark on the wall right at the top edge. Finally, just measure from that mark straight down to the floor, and that's it. So, now you have this number. What do you do with it? Well, that is our starting point. It's the reference we're going to use for setting your saddle height and, as we're about to see, for checking your bike frame's clearance. And that brings us right to our second check, frame clearance. We're going to use a super simple method for this called the standover test. To do this, all you have to do is straddle the top tube of your bike right in front of the saddle with both feet flat on the ground. You're just looking for how much space there is between that top tube and your body. Now, there is a very important exception here. If you have a bike with a step-through frame, or maybe a women's-specific design that doesn't have a high, traditional top tube, you can just go ahead and skip this step entirely. It doesn't really apply. So the ideal clearance, it actually depends on the type of bike you have. For a road bike or a hybrid, you're looking for about 1 to 2 inches of space. But, and this is interesting, for a mountain or gravel bike, you're going to want more room, about the width of your hand. That just makes it a lot easier to hop off the bike quickly if you're on some rough or unpredictable terrain. So, let's just recap. What have we actually learned here? Well, with just 2 pretty simple checks, you now have a solid data-driven starting point for your bike fit. You know your inseam measurement, and you know how to check your frame clearance. That's a great foundation. But please remember, what we've covered today is just a starting point. Every single rider's body is different. Your flexibility, your riding style, it's all unique. So for the absolute best results, a professional fitting is always, always a good idea. If you found this clip useful, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel.